Hey everyone, my name is Jamie, and I was born with 18 rare birth defects. I'm now 24 years old, and I've had a total of 112 surgeries. I started sharing my journey on Facebook a little over 6 months ago. I was hoping to raise awareness about my rare birth defects, as well as maybe make a difference in people's lives that are also facing similar challenges. Today I want to do a video blog about a very personal subject that I have not yet spoken much about, but I think it's necessary because a lot of people actually have this or have to have a ostomy bag because of this. And the topic that I'm going to talk about today is I was born without a anus, and what that's called is a imperforated anus. And because of that subject matter, a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And I get it. And being a girl, you definitely don't want to talk about it. But I want to be the voice to so many families and kids that feel like they're alone. Because none of their friends have their birth defects, or none of their friends have to have a ostomy bag. And, being 7, 8 years old, it really doesn't matter what age you are, but being a little kid like that, it can be, you don't want to be different from any of your friends. So having a scar on your body, kids are going to ask, what's that from? And what do you really explain at 7, 8 years old? Like many of us, I grew up feeling all alone. I didn't know anybody at my school that had my birth defects, and it wouldn't be till I was 12 years old that I would finally meet others just like me. So, to talk about my personal story, I was born without an anus. Like I said, it's called an imperforated anus. And that happens in every 1 in 5,000 births. It's more common in boys than girls. And for girls, a lot of the time, you also have this thing called quaka, which affects your having no anus, and also your female organs, like all that stuff. I'm not gonna say it on here, but anyways, so when I was born, I had my first surgery at 4 hours old, and that is because doctors needed to come up with a plan because I had 2 bladders that were not fully formed correctly, and the bladders and the intestines were right next to each other. So, and everything, to give you an idea, everything was on like the outside of my body. I had this big space on my stomach where there was no skin, and so everything was just out. So they performed surgery at 4 hours old, and they made me an ileostomy bag. And the reason that I had a ileostomy bag is because I was born without a anus. I had no large intestine at all, and I was only born with small intestine. So I had to have an ileostomy because of the small intestine. So because of I do not have any large intestine, my stool is more loose. And to kind of give you guys sorry, the dog is laying on the bed and made the computer shake. Sorry about that. And the reason that it's very loose is because you get more nutrients from your large intestine, and I'm not trying to be disgusting or whatever, but I'm just telling the truth. So, like, for somebody with an ileostomy, it would be almost like water. I mean, it's that loose. It's, to an average person, it would probably freak you out. But to anybody with an ostomy bag, that's just what it is. So anyways, I had my first surgery at 4 hours old, and they gave me an ileostomy. From the ages of 4 hours old to 2 years old, I had my ileostomy. At 2 years old, they made me what they call a man-made anus, or also they call it a pull-through surgery. And what that is they take a piece of intestine and make you an anus. And so they did that when I was 2. That surgery was 22 hours long. It was done at Boston Children's Hospital by one of the top doctors in this country and in the United States. But sometimes what doctors have planned and think will be best for the child doesn't always like that. For me, and I'm not saying ostomy bags are for everybody, but for me, because I only had small intestine and I had absolutely no control over my bowel movements, and I had no control over like my muscles. There's no muscles or nerves for my imperforated anus. So I had to wear diapers and then pull-ups as I got older every single day, no questions asked, because I would always have accidents. I had no control. So at 7 years old, I had one of my friends that I had known since I started school. I can remember a boy came up to me and said, "Are you wearing a diaper?" And I was like, "No. What do you mean? What are you talking about?" And I tried to play it off like that. But the truth was, inside, I knew my own secret. Nobody knew that I wore diapers or pull-ups. To be honest, a lot of people just found out last week. And I went home that day and I cried. And I told my mom I wanted to have a surgery and go talk to my old ostomy doctor. She said that yes, they could put an ostomy bag and I wouldn't have to use my anus anymore. They would just close it off. So that sounded like a great plan. I asked her if I would need to wear diapers or pull-ups or have to put on rashes or put on creams for my rashes. Because to give you an idea, it was no different than a child, like a newborn child having diarrhea. I had no control. I had to wear creams just like a baby would. And to be honest, I mean, when you're 7, you don't want to be doing that. You should be long gone out of, diapers by then. But for somebody born with an imperforated anus, you either have to do enemas and clean, that out, or, and you have to wear diapers or pull-ups or some kind of padding so that, nobody wants to have an accident when you're out in public with your friends. And for a lot of people that, don't have an ostomy bag because they're imperforated anus, they actually have to map out where the bathrooms are, because at any given point you may have to run to the bathroom, and yeah, that's embarrassing, but that's the life that a lot of people live that have imperforated anus. It's not fun. And a lot of people don't want to talk about this because, well, it's got to do with poop and it's got to do with a bathroom. And trust me, being a woman and talking about this, I don't even want to do this. But, like I said, I want to be a voice to so many of you that, yeah, it's embarrassing to talk about. But someone's got to. Because if nobody talks about it, then how are we ever going to let others know that there's more of us out there and that, they're not alone? Because like I said, growing up, I didn't know anybody until I was 12 years old. And if I would have known that there was other kids my age in this world, that would have really made me happy. It would have made me feel better about myself. And I would have understood things a lot more. So, anyways, when I was 7 and I went to the ostomy doctor, she said that there is a new surgery, and a doctor in Long Island is performing it. She wanted me to travel to Long Island to go meet him. The surgery was, instead of doing enemas from below, that they would do enemas through my belly button and basically clean me out that way. But again, my problems aren't the usual problems. I don't have a belly button. So my question was, how is that going to work? Well, anyways, I had to stay there for a week. He wanted me to do the enemas. He wanted me to be on a strict diet. And basically, anytime that I ate, whether it was a small snack or a big meal, I had to do an enema. Now, the thing to this day that I don't really understand is the surgery was to do enemas through your belly button, not through your rectum. Yet, that entire week, because I didn't have a belly button, I had to do enemas through my rectum. So, to this day, I'm just kind of curious how that relation really works. So, anyways, after a week of being miserable, I was starving because, he basically said I can't eat this food and that food, and of course it was always, the junk food that I wanted to eat. But he asked me if I wanted the surgery, and I said no. There ain't no way I'm doing this surgery. I do not want to do enemas for the rest of my life. It was so painful for me. Now, whether it's painful for others that have imperforated anus, I don't know. But this is my story. And for me personally, it was. And I hated it. So, I went back to Chicago. I asked the doctor if I would have to wear any more diapers or put cream on. She said no. So I told her to sign me up for surgery. But that, even though I didn't understand what an ostomy was because I did not remember it, that was enough for me to do the surgery. Because that, being able not to have to worry about, oh, am I going to have an accident, or, wearing diapers, and what will people think if they see my diaper, that I knew at 7 years old would forever change my life. A lot of people look at my story and say, how could you make that decision at 7 years old? But my question to all of you are, how could you not allow your child at 7 years old to make that decision? The way that I see it is, yes, my parents, raised me, tried to do what was best for me, but this is ultimately my life. They are not the ones that have to go to school and face kids and be bullied if they, do see my diaper. They are not the ones that have to deal with the diaper rash when you're 7 years old. So mentally, it was taking a toll on me. I didn't like it anymore. So, like I said, at 7 years old, I decided that I wanted my ileostomy bag put back on. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember my life before I had my ostomy, and it was very different than it is now. I remember waking up and being sore from my ostomy surgery, and for the first time feeling, oh my gosh, there's something on my stomach. But my thing is, there's always that question in your mind, what happens if I decided not to do the ostomy? And I just stuck it out for the last 24 years with my anus. Yeah, my life would be completely different. Would I like it? Would I have gotten used to it? Or would I still have hated it every single day like I did when I was 7? When I think about that question, there is no question in my mind that I made the right decision for me. A lot of people still have their anus. if they were born with a imperforated anus, and others chose the path that I did and had an ostomy bag put on instead. For me, I can't imagine my life living every minute wondering if I'm going to have an accident and where's the nearest bathroom, and doing enemas every time that I ate. And even if I didn't have to do the enemas, just the fact that I would have to wear pull-ups or diapers, I can't imagine my life like that. Because everybody wants to be independent. Nobody wants to be different from their friends. And by me having an ostomy bag, it gave me freedom. I'm not going to say that having an ostomy bag is perfect, or it's that this wonderful thing, but it gave me a life that I wouldn't have had otherwise. And a lot of people think, well, okay, well, that's just going to the bathroom, but unless you live this life, you don't really understand that. Let's say you had, diarrhea all the time, and a lot of people that are average, and were born normal and is watching this video, nobody likes when they have that anyways. Try having that like every minute of your life. It's not going to be fun, and it would take a mental toll on you. And so I believe that the path that I took at 7 years old to have an ostomy bag was the right decision. Is it the right decision for everybody? No. Everybody has their own view. Everybody's body is different, and they had different surgeries and outcomes, but this is my story. And so I wanted to make a difference with my page. I wanted to, talk about these serious topics. And last week, I decided to step out of my comfort zone. I'm not one of these girls that go and post photos of them in their bikini and swimsuit. It's not that, it's not that I have anything wrong with people that do that. And it's not that I'm ashamed of my body. But I feel like I don't really want that on the internet for the world to see. So, this top, as you guys can see, Superwoman. Anybody that knows me knows I love Superwoman pink stuff. 1, it's pink. 2, Superwoman is way better than Superman. I don't care. So, last week, I posted a photo of this shirt. And I posted a photo with me wearing this shirt, and the photo was where you could actually, I lifted my shirt up a little bit, just my stomach, and you could see my scars, my stoma, which is what I cath through, and my ostomy bag. I posted that photo because I wanted people to see the real me. I wanted people to understand that, yeah, on the outside, I look like everybody else. You don't see my scars. You don't see, if you were to walk up to me, you wouldn't know that I had 18 rare birth defects or that I've had 112 surgeries. But when you start getting to know me and hear my story, I wanted people to see that you can still be beautiful even if you have scars and an ostomy bag. What happened next would blow my mind, because I said all along with this page I wanted to make a difference in somebody's life. And if I could make a difference in just one person's life, then me sharing my story, and as personal as it may be at times, if I can change and help that one person, then me sharing my story is well worth it. And that's just what happened. After I posted that photo, a lot of people commented and said, you're an inspiration, and you're beautiful just the way that you are. And I posted that photo in a group for people born with imperforated anus and also have like ostomy bags and stuff. And a mother saw that post. She read the post that I wrote next to my picture and showed the picture to her son. She wrote me a message saying that it gives her hope for her child. And a lot of people said the same thing. But she also said that this little boy, because he had a scar from a previous ostomy bag, that he felt insecure, that he didn't want to show his scar, and that if he did show his scar, he felt like that's the first thing everybody's going to look at. In that moment, that 7-year-old girl came back because I knew exactly how he felt. That, you want to think that people won't judge you, but at the same time, you worry about it. Just like my page. When I created my page, I was very, very scared. I'm taking a big risk because, truthfully, I know that nobody but me can tell this story. Every story is going to be different, but I also knew that I could help people, as well as I knew some people wouldn't like me sharing my story and would think that it's too personal and think that, or thought that I just wanted people to feel sorry for me, which I don't. And if you do, that's fine. But whether you feel sorry for me or not, this is my life, and I'm going to have to keep living it, whether you feel sorry for me or not. So for those that do feel sorry for me, just the littlest bit, I want you not to feel sorry for me, but to be proud of the message that I'm trying to share with people from all over the world. To my surprise, I've had people message me saying thank you for being the voice for so many kids and adults that are too scared of the possibility of being rejected or bullied online because of their story. And so many of you have wrote me saying that kind of stuff. People from New Zealand, Australia, England, all over, United States, just a lot of different countries around the world. And that's amazing that my story has touched that many people. And I want to say thank you to everybody that has shared my story, because my story got to that little boy and his mother. And because of that photo where I showed my stomach and my ostomy bag, he now feels like he can show his scar. His mom said that he didn't even like to run around the house without a shirt on because he was too scared people would stare at his scar. Now, after seeing my photo, he wanted his mom to post a photo of him and his scar. So, that touched my heart a lot. And I hope one day to meet this little boy and let him know just how much of an impact he made on me by being so brave and sharing his story and showing his scar to people. Because people are going to look at him and say, wow, if he can be so brave to show his scar, then I can too. And that's exactly the message that I wanted people to see from my photo. And so, because of that, I had an idea that I wanted to build this little boy up even more. So I took his photo and I posted it on my page. I asked all of Jamie's Journey followers to comment on his photo, and let's show this little boy just how cool and brave we thought he was to be, showing the world that, yeah, God made him this way for a reason, and he's perfect just the way that he is. And his scar is just part of him. And now a lot more people see a brave little boy and find encouragement because he could do it, and so can they. So after hearing that story, this is why I'm doing this. Because topics like imperforated anus and ostomy bags, a lot of people think that, you can't survive, or think that ostomy bags are nasty or smelly because you poop in a bag. Well, technically you do, but I mean, it's no different than if somebody went to the bathroom and didn't shower, for a day or two. It's all how you take care of it. I'm 24 years old. I've had an ostomy bag for the last, let's see, 18 years or something like that. I don't know. 18, 19 years. Almost 20 years I've had it. And I can say that, yeah, it's got its ups and downs. But I wouldn't change my life at all living with an ostomy bag. I don't smell. I don't, I change it every day. It's not that you have to change your ostomy bag every day. I just rather have a new bag on. It makes you feel that much cleaner, I guess. But it's not a big deal for me. A lot of people get ostomy bags for a lot of different reasons. A lot of people think that ostomy bags are just for old people. But the truth is that people with, Crohn's disease is a lot more known these days. They're advertising it on TV and talking about it more. And I know a lot of people with Crohn's disease that have ostomy bags. But you would never know that they have Crohn's disease or an ostomy bag, because it's just part of them. So for anybody watching this that may have an imperforated anus, or an possibility of maybe having an ostomy put on for surgery, or maybe you're dealing with Crohn's disease or irritable, I'm going to say this wrong, irritable bowel syndrome. And there's there's not just, ostomy bags are not just for poop. There's also a urostomy for pee. So I mean, ostomy bags are used for a bunch of different medical problems, for a bunch of different birth defects and different reasons. And I want people to understand that you are still beautiful even if you have an ostomy bag. And for those that have an imperforated anus that didn't choose to do the ostomy bag, more power to you. There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to your child being born with imperforated anus. Do you keep the ostomy bag? Do you go back to it? Do you stay with the man-made anus or the pull-through surgery? Everybody has a different story with different results. But this is my story. And for me personally, I can handle a lot of things. But I couldn't handle living every single day knowing that I had to wear diapers and, having to run back and forth to the bathroom so much. Having an ostomy bag made my life a whole lot better and a whole lot easier. It's not always simple like that. I mean, there's nights and days that, my ostomy bag leaks and you have to wake up in the middle of the night and change it. And sometimes it can leak in the bed. And so that means that you have to change the whole bedding, and it can be at 3 o'clock in the morning. And that's, people don't even like to get up to use the bathroom, nonetheless have to do laundry at 3 o'clock in the morning. But a lot of people have started to accept, ostomy bags, and a lot of people till last week didn't even know I had one. It's all how you look at things. And for me, I want people to know that having an ostomy bag gave me a whole new life and made me happy. So that's my imperforated anus and ostomy story. I hope that you guys keep following my page, keep sharing, and I hope to keep changing people's lives, just like that little boy, and just like Violet, that little girl with bladder exstrophy. That is the whole reason why I started sharing my page. This necklace was given to me by her mother. Thanks, guys, for following my page. Until next time, thanks.